life, your wallet, your security. Join Stephen Matheson, Selvin Mitchell, and Ronaldo Rollux, 3 employment law and human resource management consulting professionals, as they unpack the complexities, analyze the power plays, and reveal the often hidden realities. Understand the game, understand your role in it. The Third Umpire, critically analyzing Trinidad and Tobago's economic and political realities on how they affect your daily lives. Tune in Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. on The Street 919 FM. Don't just listen to the news, understand it.
A lovely day for cricket. Blue skies and gentle breeze. The Indians are waiting now to play the West Indies. A signal from the umpire. The match is going to start. The cricketers come on the field. They all look very smart. Irapali Prasana, Gigi Boy and Wadeka, Krishna Murthy and Vishnu Mankad. Them boys could well play cricket on any kind of wicket. They make the West Indies team look so bad. We was in all kind of trouble. Joey Carew pull a muscle. Clive Lloyd get about 3 run out. We was in trouble without a doubt. It was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Venkataraghavan, Bedi in a turban, Vijay Jaishima, Jayantilal. They helped to win the series against the West Indies at Sabina Park and Queen's Park Oval. 158 by Kanai, really sent our hopes up high. Noriega 9 for 95, the Indian team they still survive. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Janjurani, Solka Abidali, Dilip Sadesai and Vishwanath. They make West Indies bowlers look like second-raters when those fellows came out here to bat. West Indies tried Holder and keep Boyce. They had no other choice. They even tried with Newton Dow, but a shot at the sorry they bring him now. It was Gavaskar, the real master. Like a wall, we couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Desmond Lewis, also Charlie Davis, they take a little shame from out we face. But Sobers as a captain, he won plenty coaching before we cricket end up in a disgrace. Beatty here that he became a father, he catch out Holford in the cover. But when Sobers here, he too had a son. He made duck and went back in the pavilion. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, listeners. Wherever you are, those of you patiently awaiting the start of our show this evening in New York, on your way home from school, on your way home from work, a very hard day, very warm and sticky day in Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening. Good evening to the owners and managers of this great radio station. And thank you for giving us the opportunity on this show this evening to speak into your motor vehicles as you are on your way home. Wherever you are, on the train, wherever, in New York, those of you in Miami who are usually listening to us, and to all of you who call us on evenings, good evening. And welcome to the third Umpire Show. Today I am here at the moment. I am here alone, but I know I will be joined by our female umpire shortly, and I'm sure also that I'll be joined by probably one or two other umpires not too long from now. As usual, we look at the batting and the bowling, and sometimes we look at them critically, sometimes we look at them using different kind of pun and satire. This is a show coined using the metaphor, the cricket metaphor, and hence the reason why we call it the third umpire. We umpire the game, and of course we look at what is in the news and we try to analyze it in umpiring the game. You in the pavilion could also call us and tell us if we are analyzing it correctly, or your opinion, of course. So, over the week, over the last few days, we've been dealing with, for the most part, we've been dealing with crime, the issue of crime. We've been dealing with the issue of the economy. But for the most part, we've been dealing with crime and what has been happening in society, what are the drivers of crime, what are the issues relating to confidence in the police service, confidence in police officers, and we always provide solution on the show. Always. Every evening I try to make it something important that whenever we talk, we provide solutions. If we don't provide solutions of our own, we scour international news, we scour even our daily news, and we pull out the solutions and we either endorse them or we critically analyze them. So one of the things that really startled me after our show yesterday, and was learning that the protesters, as a matter of fact, the main protester who supported Kaya, to a large extent, she was arrested. And what really startled me most was the comment of the Prime Minister. And some things that she said that really surprised me. Well, it didn't really surprise me, but because the Prime Minister has always, to a large extent, she is very focused on probably trying to bring down crime as part of her mantra as part of our promise to the nation, and that is to reduce crime. But she seemed to be wanting to do so by any means necessary. That is not bad. It's not bad to want to do it by any means necessary. But when the police, who in my opinion, whatever they do would impact heavily on how the public see them, how the kind of confidence given to the public, and preserving that very, very delicate balance between discipline and indiscipline, then I have a problem. Because I remembered sometime last year, sometime after September last year, when we had the Americans out in the Caribbean, the Caribbean Sea, and they seemed to be just blowing up boats and that kind of thing without the necessary due process. That is killing people who, even if they were engaged in criminal activities on the sea, the death penalty was handed to them without any due process. And that, to me, for me, was a problem as a person who operates in a space where we see due process as critical. That, to a large extent, bothered me. But it didn't seem to bother the Prime Minister at the time, because she was one of the persons who say kill them and kill them violently. And, you know, while I supported the UNC to get in office, I have a mind of my own. And if I hear something that isn't making sense, I will say it isn't making sense. That, to me, didn't make sense. And the discussion, the statement made by the Prime Minister yesterday was one of those statements that, to me, didn't make sense. The end does not, here, the end certainly does not justify the means. So when the Prime Minister spoke to a large extent about the amount of murders that took place in the last 10 years, and where were the protesters, the police killing an unarmed citizen is not an excuse, Madam Prime Minister. The police killing an unarmed citizen is not an excuse. The police, you said something in your statement, maybe you should chant, put up your hand and, you know, and respect the police or whatever. But Joshua did put up his hand and he was killed. Right? He put up his hand and he didn't shoot at the police and he was killed. His two hands were out of the car and he was killed still. So to say we should be chanting, put up your hands and not shoot at the police, to justify the killing, the obvious killing by the police of a citizen, an unarmed citizen, I have a problem with that. I have a serious problem with that. And I don't know if you who are listening also have a problem with it. But that, you know, when I see things wrong, I will call it out. That, to me, doesn't make sense. So I think we have to, as politicians, as public figures, we have to be more responsible sometimes in the things we say. And sometimes I know, you know, I know the political season that we are in, and sometimes why people say things. And when you're in opposition, you say things, you say one thing, and when you're in government, you say something different. And it is something that we are plagued with in Trinidad and Tobago by the two main political parties. They both do it. But it is sad because innocent people are dying. Innocent people are dying. And I say all the time, when you stop fearing, you regain your liberty. Anytime you continue to fear, you lose your liberty very easy. So the Trinidad and Tobago, you have to stand up for what you think is right. Stand up against the criminals who wreaking havoc in your neighborhood, but also stand up against the police who is obviously doing the wrong things to you and citizens like you, right? That is my that is what I have to say. I'm not saying anything wrong. I am a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, and I am a free person, and therefore the right thing is the right thing, and the wrong thing is the wrong thing. And if we are seeing something that logically is not making sense to us, don't be afraid to say it's not making sense. And that is what I have to say with regards to this particular situation. There are a number of things that I would want to deal with this evening, but I thought I had to say that, because to me that is a problem. So Trinidad and Tobago, it's now 3:37. I am here alone, and I would certainly want to hear what you have to say about that particular article or that particular comment that was made by the Prime Minister, and that for which I would have just pronounced on as an umpire. I would like to hear what you have to say. The number is 342-0081 or 466-5391. We have a number of things to unpack this evening, and I just wanted to start there. Good evening, caller. Yeah, good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Marcuson. I see you all on the hot seat.
KFC
for now.
Anyway,
Marcuson, you just... Yeah, man? I still have
just now.
Yeah, man, now?
Mr. Producer, if you're hearing me, come on, help you. I'm hearing this man here at all.
I hear you. Hello?
See, you might have a call back, boy, because, yeah, I'm hearing, I have a caller here, I'm not hearing him at all. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but as I was saying, when you call back, okay, somebody's calling again. Good evening.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Marcuson.
When you put it on, you're not hearing. That you only.
Good afternoon, Mr. Marcuson. I'm trying to sabotage the program. Can you come and speak your money like you statement you're not Prime Minister, man?
I think we had some minor difficulties here, so I just think that we have gotten it organized. So as I was saying, I started off with the article where the Prime Minister did say that the protesters seem to have been trying to provoke the police, and that maybe they should consider in their chant, put up your hands, saying put up your hands and do not shoot at the police. And that is to justify the fact that crime is going down under an SOE, and that in the last 10 years, 5,000 persons would have lost their life. That is an article written by The Guardian that reported on what the Prime Minister had to say when asked about the arrest of the protesters. I had a problem with that, and I did say what that problem is, and I'd like to hear what you have to say. Our number is 342-0081 and 466-5391. So KFC, good evening.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon, Mr. Marcus.
Yeah, good afternoon.
And the two umpires who are coming in late.
Yeah.
Marcus, you over 18, you have a mind of your own. You don't like the statement the Prime Minister made. You know, people don't like it neither too. I support the UNC too. The guy he put up here and he got shot down. Look, I see one of the protesters. He put up here and the dash him and he gone. Don't shoot. I find the Prime Minister, the population vote for she. It better you come out and deal with the public. Because we know it's a real rope element in the police service. They're not taking the job serious. Some of them in racket, some of them in crime. They walk around shooting innocent people with a old gun and planting it. And people, I know what's going on with the police service. So I never like my mom, but I thank God I walk away from them people and them. So, Marcus, you gotta be truthful to yourself. And I know that man, you're not singing for your supper. I'm back.
I never sing for my supper under the PNM nor the UNC, and not in that. So yeah, so good evening to callers. Callers, you can call us and join in the discussion. People, we live in a democratic society, and when you have a problem with something, if you can talk to a neighbor, if you can talk to your children, if you can talk to whoever, and you could register your dissatisfaction with it, then you are living in a free society. And if protest is the means by which the society, the proletariat, come out and say how they feel about certain things, albeit you also have to observe the law and notify the police of your protest action and that kind of thing, and you did that, then I don't see why you should have I don't see why the authorities should have a problem with people voicing their opinion on things that they see as not right in society. And I'm saying, the moment you start giving up that liberty, you're bound to lose everything. And so the people who are not willing to say something for fear that they will lose the job or they will lose something, I think you will eventually lose it when you lose all of your liberty. Because that may very well be the road that we're going down. Right? What we saw, right? What we saw with respect to this particular shooting, and what we saw, and we know this has happened plenty times in the past, right? Under the PNM and under UNC, so it transcends political parties. But what we saw in this one, I don't know if I am probably the only logical thinking person, and I know that is not true. There are plenty of people here who say the same thing, right? It is beyond comprehension that after 4 or 5 months that this lady is now charged for something that she could not have possibly do given the circumstances. And if we would have asked all those questions yesterday, and I'm supposing that it is the reason why the young people and others have decided to take the action that they have taken, to take the action that they've taken, which is to register the protest, which is to register the dissatisfaction with respect to everything. How you come to charging this lady, I mean, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not the brightest bulb in the house, but certainly it is making sense to me. And I'm sure it isn't making sense for the majority of the people who could think. So we are at a juncture where something has to happen, right? And my position is that the only entity that could really solve this problem is the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and they have the power to do that through legislation and other means, right? So when the people do what they have the liberty to do, as people born in a free nation, a free country, and you as the leader of the government come out and say that I have a problem with that. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matheson.
Yes.
And good afternoon to your listeners. Now, let me deal with the Prime Minister first. And you see, I've been telling Trinidad and Tobago, all they did was achieve 50% of their goal by removing the PNM. But there is another 50% to achieve when you're going to the voting booth, and it is to be mindful of the people who you're putting into power and their characteristics, right? You need to be very, very mindful of that. The next thing is, Mr. Matheson, you see this thing where these police want us to believe that they will be involved in not only a shootout with Kaya and Joshua as the driver. They said they saw the firearm in the person's bra from quite up in Maloney, right? And when Ole was engaging, she was pointing something or resembling a firearm in your direction. So you mean to tell me, you wait 4 months with having knowledge of all of that, then to come and charging with causation? How long can causation stand up as a defense after 1 shot, 10 shots, 19 shots into the person who wasn't holding the firearm, 100 shots, two rocket launchers and a grenade, and still telling us it's causation? Causation stopped long time before all you put 19 bullets into Joshua. Tell me causation is, oh gosh, 5 shots, 10 shots maximum you put into him because he is not the one holding the firearm. 19, you switch your firearm, all kind of thing, and continued offloading shots into the man and telling me about causation.
Well, caller, I don't know why you're using the word causation. Because causation is always an element in criminal law, in murders and things that you look at to find out what was the real cause of before you announce charges and that kind of thing to someone, what really caused the murder. So causation is that element. And that's so I don't think that might be the word you want to use. When you talk about go ahead.
Yeah, the reason I'm using that term is because that is what the police and the talking parts are hanging on to. That that Kaya caused them to operate in that manner. But I'm saying, okay, if we are accepting that, at some point, right, that causation defense ends. It is not that you could go and Kaya caused you to do something, but that something has a limit. So you could have just continue killing everybody on that street and say Kaya caused it, or you could have continue calling for more bullets and full up Joshua and say Kaya caused it. Was the shots that end up in Joshua aimed at subduing Kaya? This set of rubbish that the police keep coming with right through and feeling like people are not supposed to protest.
Yeah, but caller, let me deal with yes, we're dealing with the statement made by the Prime Minister. Let me hear what you have to say about that, because I'm sure you read it.
Well, just like you, Mr. Matheson, I am not surprised, because it won't be the first time that Ms. Prasad Bisesa has displayed this part of her characteristic, her nature. But you know what is key thing to note? If they were still in opposition, they would be in support of this protest. So it looks like it's anything for political points. And when you see you have that power, you have no regard for who, what, where, when, how. Because she is going out and supporting the TTPS, no problem, even in the face of this where there is so much questions arising, right, within the video. But you know, she couldn't make out Arnel Roberts in the video in room 201. This
But-
type of hypocrisy that continues to walk to the place.
Caller, I am just, I just want to break down this whole thing because, I am lightening what Miss Kamala Prasad-Bissessar would have said to what I'm looking at what would have happened from September, October, November last year with respect to the U.S. action in the Caribbean, saying that they're killing people who was transporting drugs. Now, they were doing that without giving those persons that they were killing any form of due process. Whether or not they were doing drugs or they were innocent or whatever, you can't just kill people just so, right? And any attorney would know that, could tell you that, right? Due process is a very, very critical and important element in law and ascribing responsibility for certain things, right? And the thing is, you would have the Prime Minister in her statements then was to support that action by the U.S. and she did it in ways where she said kill them violently, and that sent a message to the public or persons listening that you really don't care about due process. You don't see due process as an important element in this thing. And the only person, I would have heard one politician, I don't want to call his name now, but I would have heard one politician who would have indicated that the U.S. need to do what they do, but they need to also consider the issue of due process, which could mean if you have the power to shoot, to find those boats and know these boats, you have the power to interdict too. And that is to capture, to chase the boats down and capture them, or to destabilize the craft and bring the persons to justice. If they in fact have drugs, get the drugs, apprehend them, whatever, instead of just killing them, right? But she now doubles down into saying or doing the same thing, because now you are saying to the protesters, the people who are protesting against something that Trinidad and Tobago obviously saw, and there are no logical answers to why the lady would be charged now at this point in time, and therefore people would be protesting that as their natural right and liberty. And you would say, apart from saying that they are provoking the police, you are saying that maybe instead of chanting what you are chanting, that you should chant, put up your hands and don't shoot at the police. No. You seem to be saying that the police had the right to do what they do because it is all in the name of bringing down crime and bringing down murders in Trinidad and Tobago. And that, to me, is a very, very unfortunate narrative. So I would like to hear what you have to say on the other side of the hour, because we are certainly coming up to a break to pay some bills. When we come back, I'd like to hear what you have to say about that, and obviously we'd want to look at some other issues. We pause for a break. Pay some bills.
Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, number 1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows. Sunday worship service, 9 a.m. Monday Bible study, 6 p.m. Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
Water is life. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Any little leak, we gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. So anyway you see a leak, the number to call is 800-4420 or 800-4426 and report the leaks. IWER George and Watson say, join the evolution to save water. Water is precious. Every drop of water counts. This message is brought to you by the Water and Sewerage Authority.
Wrap up your Thursday the right way. Twister Thursdays. 2 twisters for just $54.95. Loaded, saucy, finger licking good. One bite and you know it must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Go to FIFA World Cup 2026 with Coca-Cola. Here's how. Buy any Coca-Cola 591 milliliter bottle with football labels. Uncap and submit your code via WhatsApp to 328-2878. It's that easy. Participate as often as you like for your chance to win FIFA World Cup tickets or exclusive merchandise and score with Coca-Cola. Promotion approved by NLCB. Follow us on social media for updates.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big on the ground. We the nation, cause they don't know we were the crown. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we all have fun, and let we join together, because KFC is life. It's a big deal.
Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
It's a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse.
KFC, crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make it like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Okay, good evening. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and joining me this hour is our female umpire, Professor Simoya Sanderford. And Simoya, we were just talking, I started off the program this evening looking at, as usual, looking at what's in the news, and one article that jumped out at me was the article where the Prime Minister would have commented on the arrest of the protesters.
Yeah.
And where she was saying that they were kind of like fanning the flame and provoking the police and that kind of thing. And she said something that was very critical. But let me take this caller. Yeah. Good evening, caller.
Morning, Mr. Moya and Mr. Oh, good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Mr. Madison and Mr. Moya. I heard someone said recently that politics is communication, you know. And also went on, and I adhere to that. I understand it. You know, you have to know what you're communicating, how you're communicating, when you're communicating. And also, politicians sometimes, they get office, get into office, and they squander it. They squander it. I don't know who advises the Prime Minister, but, I mean, you know, you're talking to a country, and you're talking to people who, some may not be that literate or educated, but you have people, large percentage of the population, educated, and they can in fact analyze, and they can think, some of them can think critically, and sometimes you have to know what you say and what you do. That statement, I think, was very unfortunate. And I am saying that what I think the Prime Minister should be focusing on, there is a problem. There is a problem with policing in this country. Tell the population, in light of all that has happened, either you're disconnected from the ground, you're disconnected from the people, or you're distant from the people. You don't understand what is the feelings of the population, what they're thinking, how they're thinking. And I don't think that was an appropriate response to what is taking place. Yes, the matter is before the court. I am not going to get into that because that is not going to carry me anywhere.
But there is also a court of public opinion.
Yeah, but that court of public opinion, even though you have a court of public opinion, yes, that court of public opinion, they engage primarily in speculation.
Yes.
So this is what I'm saying. So you have perception and whatnot. But the point about it is that if you want to get to the fact, the truth of it, what is the fact? The objective truth, which can be proven by evidence, you have to go to the court. People say all kind of things, all in rum shop, all about the place, in barber shop, in maxi taxi, all kind. People add on, this one say, this one tell me so, this one say that one say this. You ain't going nowhere with that. Yes, but the fact people would have seen certain things happen and they're concerned. But the matter is now before the court. And I realize that I call your program and I tend to distance myself from that because that ain't carrying me nowhere. I observe certain things, I'm concerned about it. The matter is before the court, let the court determine what has taken place. People feel aggrieved, they feel that they want to protest and this matter deserves some kind of attention by the powers that be. Yes, they have that right within Section 4 of the Constitution. And let them exercise that right. But again, in exercising your right, it must be within the limits of the law. We're not in the jungle. We operate by law, the rule of law. Yes, you have your constitutional rights, but those rights are limited. They are not absolute. And if you want to maintain a society, any part in the world, you have to abide by the law. You can't say, well, look to hell with the law and I'm going to do this. We operate by law. We're not in the jungle. Recently I just spoke about the state of nature, the Leviathan. And if you don't have people taking the law unto themselves and nobody respect the law. They feel they could do what they want. We're going back to the caveman days. A man feel that you're dissatisfied with how you treated with him, he take a club and clubber you. That is not the kind of society, not in 2026. Not in 2026. And I am saying what I'm saying is that the problem that the government, I think the Prime Minister should be dealing with, everybody knows that the police is not performing satisfactorily with respect to extrajudicial killing and all that kind of thing, or the alleged extrajudicial killing. And therefore you have to do something about it. Tell me how you're going to deal with that problem. And that is what I think most of the population want to hear. Are you going to engage in police reform? Tell me. What are you going to do with respect to the police training, police, whatever, the discipline and whatnot? Even just this morning, I heard somebody spoke about some police officer, a female police officer who probably fired a shot at somewhere on the highway or something.
And somewhere in Arima, I think it was.
Right.
I read that article too, and I wanted to talk about that also.
Right. I don't know if I should leave that for you to really do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but what I'm saying here is this: is that the case. I listened to the secretary or the head of the police union, and what they were saying is that it has to do with training. That's what I gleaned from it, so I understand by what he said, and that they need to have training, continuous training.
But it also, that whole situation also demonstrates the degradation that is taking place and that delicate balance between the police and the citizenry. And why we need to have, the police need to provide that kind of maybe respect or I don't know what better word to describe it, but they need to provide that environment where people could feel like they trust them and they respect them.
Yes, but the point about it, what I want to say, and I want to add to what you're saying, that you on your program discuss almost every aspect of police, everything relating to police functioning within the society. And what he was saying is that they need continual training, and we probably not every.
And the thing is, people are starting to lose confidence in the police, and that's a bad thing.
But some people have already lost confidence.
So when you lose confidence in something or somebody, you don't really want to hear them, you know?
But this is what is happening, and the point about it is that is what I think that the Prime Minister should be focusing on. I don't think that this.
And you can't force nobody me to trust you if I don't trust you.
No, that's the thing. But I am saying that the government and the Prime Minister more especially, I think that because in her speech, she should be focusing on how if her ears is on the ground, if she's listening to what is taking place in this society, I would have expected her to say how she was going to rekindle or rebuild the trust in the police. Because if the people don't trust the police, they're not giving them information, right? It means you can't deal with crime. Nobody's reporting. In fact, I mean, it could end up vigilante, lawless people taking the law into their own hands because they don't trust the police. So all these things could happen, and it affects the stability of the society. And I expected her to say, well, what you were going to do, you were going to establish, probably deal with the same thing we spoke about yesterday with respect to the Police Service Commission, not the police, well, yes, we spoke about the PCA, right? How you want to structure to ensure that you have independent investigation, a body that is truly independent to investigate the police. And those are the matters that should occupy her mind. Not this thing about, it can't be you, us, and them. And if you don't understand, you're out of touch with what is going on with the police. You have, I don't know, I don't know who's advising the Prime Minister. I don't know the thing about it, and I'm saying that if you continue along that way, all that may be done is that you exacerbate a situation in this country.
You know, the thing is, we're not living in a perfect world, right? And nobody used to go to school and learn how to be a politician.
Correct.
But we dealing with very seasoned politicians here, and it's as if they are daft. It's as if they are, you know, they've lost in the system. They don't understand. They're not feeling what the reality is different from ours.
Well, some people, when they get into politics, you must understand what drives people into politics. Some people get there because they feel they could eat their food. Some people there because they wouldn't speak because they are afraid, because they hold position at the pressure of whoever is in charge. So all these things limit or restrict person's viewpoint. Other people may in fact be there and say, well, look, maybe let's say those in the opposition and those who probably independent and probably don't, they say, well, look, they leave you alone because they say, well, I'm your service. So you're going down that road and then telling you nothing because they realize that the more you say, the more you do, you get yourself in a bind. You can't get away from. So you're going down that road and you self-destruct.
Well, so I think what is happening with in particular the Prime Minister, she is a victim of the emotional, abuse that took place in the last 10 years with respect to the amount of murders. And clearly she would have made a promise to the nation to fix that. And she seems to be seeing, it is apparent, apparently she is seeing in the fact that we have a SOE and the fact that violent crime seems to be statistically going down. She's taken a lot of liberty to say that maybe we should just listen to the police, take what we're getting, and crime will keep going down.
Well, the thing about it is that if you look at...
Which to me...
Well, that ain't going nowhere because the fact is that...
Because if you just have a state of emergency and you're not doing anything else, we ain't hear what the plan is, we ain't seen nothing, no... We ain't seen no active move to make any serious change, no real plan, no critical thinking, no none of that. We seen the same thing, but all we getting outside of the same thing is a state of emergency. Then if you move it, it may not necessarily make a difference. We may come to a time when moving it may not make a difference, or having it wouldn't make a difference.
Well, you see, the thing about it, if you talk about a drop in murder rate, what about police excesses? Is there a decline? And do we need to bring that to an end by reform? By reforming the PCA, reforming the Service Commission, and reforming the police service as a whole? How are we going to deal with that? So I'm saying that you have to take as you say, the bull by the horn. And these are things that you can do. Tell the people how you're going to deal with the police service, how you're going to rebuild or rekindle trust in the police. That is what people want to hear. And people want to know, in fact, you talk about a plan is also, but you can preach how much you want, because I remember under the last regime, the people, police officers, senior police officers, running outside and every 2 minutes, crime down by 10%, crime down by, and the rate going up the road, speeding down the road, people dying all over the place. You people want to see that you put systems in place to deal with the crime. People want to see police in community, like the police and them must be telling them, well, look, we ain't doing this, That's what people want to see. People want to see reform. Everybody in the society telling you, hey, listen, we don't feel safe because we're not seeing police in the community. And up to today, no police in the community. So I'm saying that, yes, this government has a very heavy task on its hand. They're burdened. I know that they're under pressure, and the Prime Minister could be under pressure. But that is the nature of the beast. That is what governance is all about. Governance is not just seen about the economy and about tourism and we go get. You have to maintain stability, social order. And you have to come up with policy. You have to put systems in place to ensure that there is stability, social coherence within the society. That is your job. And you have to sit down and deal with it. It's a bit tough. It's challenging. But that is the nature of the beast. You can't run away from it, and people expect you to deal with matters rationally. I understand where the government is at this time and the Prime Minister, but again, there's certain things that you have to do. You have to get good advisors. You can't be operating a kind of way where you run out there, and what you could be doing there is you exacerbate how it works. You're getting the people annoyed because people say, "I listen, they've seen it with the eyes." Everybody knows from the last 20 years that you wanted the police were not operating well, and you take a side when in fact what you should be doing is saying, "Well, look, listen, I understand what the police did, and come out." I think Mia Motley would have acted differently, Holness and those people. They would have acted differently in terms of dealing with that, because they would have said, "Yes, we have a problem. Let's see how we're going to deal with the problem." Don't give the appearance that you are taking sides, that you're supporting the police or you're supporting the public, because it's a very delicate line that you walk. You cannot give the impression that you're supporting the police when everybody knows that the police is not performing above par. You can't give that impression. What people want to know is how you're going to deal with that, how you're going to solve those problems. Bring it to the people, level with the people. And it's not too late. And sometimes politicians have to swallow their pride. Deal with it.
All right, caller. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
So,
This is
Dr. Sandyford?
This is a two-sided coin for me. So on one hand, I understand the...
You want to take this call?
Yeah,
Let's take
go
this
ahead.
call.
Let's take this call.
Caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, umpire.
Yeah.
And the beautiful lady there.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Umpire, we have to call it as we see it. The Prime Minister at this time, as the youth will say, is very out of timing. Very, very, very out of timing. A leader is one who tries to bring calmness and some sort of peace. Someone who kind of cool down the flame, so to speak. This Prime Minister is not doing that. This Prime Minister is adding to the flame. If you listen to the comments that she is making, for example, this morning I made a statement where she accused the protesters of being grifters.
I heard that.
Grifters are people who are fake, people who deal with fraud, and con artists. This is how she described the protesters, people who are standing up for a cause.
And by the way, I saw a lot of persons who would have supported the cause of the UNC in that protest, by the way.
Yes. It's a very, how to call it, boy. The situation is where a lot of people, the whole of Trinidad and Tobago saw the video and they are very sympathetic with that whole situation. So you as the Prime Minister cannot come out now and act you.
Maybe she didn't see the video?
So probably she didn't see it, but I don't know. She is speaking as though she didn't see it. And now to come out and like I said, you have people like Wendell Eversley and Mr. Abdullah and so on amongst the protesters. And you are calling them fraudsters and fakes and con artists. I mean, that is very insulting. The Prime Minister is supposed to come out and calm a situation. Speak, peace, speak, wait, let's see where this will go, as the case may be, but not add fuel. As you were saying earlier on, umpire, the situation with the boats being blown up in the sea, in the Caribbean waters, while all the other leaders was being calm and staying calm or condemning it, this Prime Minister was saying, kill them violently. While the whole of America, the Democrats, even the Republican that Mr. Trump belonged, was condemning his actions. this Prime Minister in Trinidad and Tobago was saying to kill them violently.
So it
something is wrong.
It fits within the narrative. What happened here?
Yes.
Yesterday, I mean, it kind of like the same thing. This is what I'm saying.
It's the same thing. Because there was no proof, there was no evidence of the people being killed on these boats, were drug pushers, or as the case may be, or traffickers. There was no evidence. And the two people who, after one of the boats was blown up, the two people who was left alive, when they realized that they were alive, they sent another bomb and blew them up.
A double tap.
So there was no, when they could have called them and questioned them and whatever the case may be, you kill them. And our Prime Minister, after, even though Mr. Trump was being condemned in America, our Caribbean Prime Minister was saying kill them violently.
Yes, and this is
and all. This is it. And this is the same thing that's going on here now. You have a situation where a lot of people of Trinidad and Tobago are very emotional at this point in time. Because we saw it, we saw the video. Your role as Prime Minister is to come in and calm a situation, not condemn the protesters. No, that wouldn't work.
Because I'm sure she would not have
quiet the situation.
I'm sure she would not have condemned those protesters if she was in opposition.
That's right.
But look at Mr. Umpire. We had a protest in Superior yesterday too, protesting against Victor Roberts, and the people came and the very compound that Mr. Roberts was on. It only would have taken one protester to jump Mr. Roberts. There was no police, and the police station right there next door. Not one police came out to say we are under SOE. This is not permitted. So that also is showing a level of hypocrisy. So you want to challenge protesters in town and arrest protesters in town, but they have protesters in Superior, where a police station is right there, and which, according to the police, were under SOE, you're supposed to have no protest. But nothing was done about that protest. What message does that send to us, Mr. Umpire? What is the message being sent there? Are you picking and choose who to stop and who to allow to talk? This is a very dangerous situation that the Prime Minister is taking. Very, very dangerous. As I said, your role as a leader is to quiet a situation, to calm a situation, to try, if the court said, let us see how best, let the thing take its course, but let us try and be calm in the meantime. But not to add fuel, Mr. Umpire. And that is what our Prime Minister is doing. Now, I only use the word grifters, but there are other words, strong words that she used, that I know it have other callers, I don't want to go into it. But my advice to the Prime Minister is to, if you have to speak peace, speak calmness, speak hold on, speak, let us see what will take place. Don't add fuel to already difficult situation. And that is my point, Umpire, and my sweet lady.
You throwing grass and dry season.
Thank you very much.
Gas with cigarette and dry grass in dry season. That's what you're doing
this. This is every day I am seeing the lack of couth, the lack of professionalism, and the lack of class. And it is showing. I agree with what the last caller said. We could make statements that say, let us await the outcome of the process.
Thank you.
I would appreciate that. But I'm seeing a narrative running that this young lady, the Kaya person, is Gangsta Barbie. Where did that come from?
Exactly. It's sounding like...
Because if you watch the footage, it doesn't show anything with a firearm. Where is she going to store the firearm?
Correct.
Where is the firearm?
That's the logic. That's the idiocracy. We had to somehow
and that's all
rationalize here, and
Now,
that doesn't make sense.
if
Let's
you
take
get
this
a call,
caller.
go ahead.
Caller, good evening.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's a shame. I agree with the last call. It's a shame to see the remarks that the Prime Minister, how she handling this situation. Because the young lady, as you all were saying, the young lady said she never held a gun in her hand. She didn't know how to fire a gun, right? And I don't know if you all listen to the video good. When the police after they shot the guy and they walking up to the car, they was telling him, hold the gun.
Yeah.
You understand? So, and for our leaders, before they just stay quiet and say, well, listen, the investigation going on and whatever and so on, but you condemning the people, the march. If you call an election now, then they might even win a seat or no. Because it's the whole country upset about this or no. You understand? And you can't go against the masses like that. I mean, people want to come from the whole country. I was up to Oko Sunday, and if you hear the brothers and up on that side talking about that situation.
You see, and what? You see the frightening thing about this. The frightening thing about this to me is that this could cause a certain kind of instability in our country.
Thank you. And that's all we say.
I said they have to say thank God Trinidadians are very much peaceful people.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
We have to be careful. This is not going in a good direction at all.
We can't even afford a George Floyd situation in Trinidad. We can't even afford that.
Can't afford that right now.
Because, I mean, as the caller said, how come you didn't do nothing to the protesters down in Siparia yesterday by Victor Roberts? How come no police and go to stop the march, stop the protest and whatever thing? What is really going on? You understand? It's showing a clear bias, and it shocks you of all your leadership qualities. You may have opened the children's fund and do one or two positive things, but what you're doing now, demeriting all that. You understand? You have to know what you're doing, and you're a leader. You're not just a leader of a little group or a little section. You're Prime Minister, and it's a shame. You can't even compare her to the qualities of Mia Murthy, like how she does respond to something and how she does speak, right? Look at the curriculum issue, right? And as the caller said, you murder people, you encourage the murdering of people to say that Trinidad borders will be safe and ask God who will go on the borders free as that. You understand? Anything could happen. Men committing crime in the morning and by lunchtime, overtime they don't Venezuela relaxing. That was shown by the crime host already. Right? So you try to you lie about the radar and all, because the radar was going Grenada and the man said, youth man say he don't want it here. And they come and protest in Trinidad. You didn't request no radar, and you telling me that you request radar and things. What you say? You feel the people are them stupid in the country? Or is it that the leaders, it goes to show you how they're not connected to the ground, They don't know what's going on at the ground, You understand? And if they call an election, it might be going to see that earlier, because if the whole country upset about a lot of things that are happening.
That's right.
Right? Anyway, you all take care, keep up the good work, and it's a shame to see the response of this Prime Minister. Take care and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. So, Simon, you were saying?
My concern here is that the police is, I respect.
Let me take this caller.
Go ahead.
This caller.
This is a
good
hot
evening,
show.
Good
Go
evening,
ahead.
caller.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
I want to make a couple of comments, and you may choose to see it as connected to what's going on now, or you may not, you or your listeners. The first thing is, remember during the last administration, when the Prime Minister at the time was under a lot of attack from the public, for supporting Earl Christopher. Do you remember what he said at that time?
Correct. Remind me.
He said, I have no choice but to support the Commissioner of Police. And that rang a certain alarm bell in the minds of some of the citizenry who were clearly, from their vantage point, seeing incompetence and somebody clearly not able to handle the job. Be that as it may, I also want to make another comment. There was a time in this country, not that long ago, when once a person has been charged by the TTPS to appear before the court, most media, I dare say even social media at the time, would take an attitude that this is sub judice, to use the Latin term, and because we do not want to impact on the matter, particularly with regards to jury selection, we will not treat with this. Not only because of common tradition, can you say, but also because we do not wish to put our media into any place of liability by running afoul of the law. With this matter and the emotional intensity surrounding it, it seems like we've thrown that out the window. And I'm really concerned about this because the very people who will be selected to be on whatever jury is ultimately finalized on will be coming from the very public that is giving voice to every opinion, every which way till Sunday. And I'm concerned about a potential case being made for the jury pool being soiled or sullied. And nobody's talked about this thus far, certainly not on this program, and I'm really worried about that. I always said from the get-go, when I saw that video, which was very disturbing and alarming, that I'm prepared to wait to see what evidence the state comes to explain that fiasco.
So now that you see what the state come with, because to some extent...
No, that's not true. That's not true. We are yet to see a court matter play out because of it.
Right.
All we have seen thus far are the charges.
So like you...
And this is important.
So like you...
Because...
Like you, sir, like you, I am also of the ilk that wants this to end where it should end. That is in the court, right? But you can't dispel the fact that we live in an era of social media and people have rights, right? And not barring the fact that, you know, matters like these might be sub-judiciary and, you know, that kind of thing. You have to also consider the prevalence of social media and the fact that almost everything you do today is somehow recorded in some form or fashion and would end up on social media. And people have to be responsible also. So some things
okay, go on.
Yeah, some things could make sense. Some things just doesn't make sense.
Here's the thing, and I want to tackle you on that point, because I don't know if any of your callers will remember what I'm about to recall. They may have more detail about it. But a few years ago, could be more than 10, 20 years ago, there was an incident that occurred in Laventille. I believe it was Laventille, where a woman was shot at very close distance. In fact, what's the term they use when you shoot somebody at very close range? At blank range. There were many on-site onlookers who saw that and reported that. I believe it was to the coroner or to the court that had an inquest into the death of that woman. They swore up and down that the police officer took out his weapon and just fired and aimed at the woman, point blank range. And the actual ballistic evidence that was presented in the court proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the way the onlookers or the witnesses were describing how it happened was impossible. And that's what I'm saying. People look at a video, they see what they see, they interpret it a certain way, I'm prepared to let this go all the way, the full court exposure, because I know I did not see everything that went on in that video. I did not see what was happening in the car. I don't know what was being said between the parties in the car. I know the police were shooting into the car. I saw a gentleman with his hands apparently hands up. But I want to know more. I'm not getting the full picture. And all of this ventilation of what people have seen, how they feel about it, how they're emoting about it, that's only one part of it. And my biggest fear is that, Trinidadians are a 9-day wonder. My biggest fear is that after all this emotion is given vent on social media, in the public marches, when the court case actually comes around, you will see a kind of shrug from the typical Trinidadian at that time, because they moved on. They moved on to the next horror, the next scandal, the next CTPS abuse, alleged or real. And the fervent interest that we are seeing now will do what has always happened. It will die away. So I am not even taking all this emotion at face value. I'm not saying the Prime Minister was correct in her assessment of it, but I understand what she's trying to say. Give this a few days, or even a few weeks, or even a few months, and you will see something else occurring with regards to the concern about the persons who were either killed or injured because of this event. Trinidadians need to take a holistic view. We all agree that there is something seriously wrong with the TTPS and how it conducts its affairs. We all agree that the TTPS and other agencies, such as the Police Complaint Authority, are severely hampered by the way the laws were framed. And I agree with you, Mr. Batterson, that the persons who framed it probably did exactly what they wanted to do for very sound reasons. I'm not going to cast aspersions on their motivations, but clearly they looked at the law and found what might have been considered a compromise, given what the law allows the TTPS to do, the Constitution allows the TTPS to do, and what another authority could also do in regards to competing interests. That may have been the rationale. I don't know. But perhaps you have to go back to the original drafting document as recorded by Hansard to determine what was the mindset there. I'm not prepared to cast aspersions on the judgment, but clearly it's having a deleterious effect and impact. And perhaps we need to look at that again, like so many other laws that are captured in our legislation. Maybe it's time to review it. But we are, how many years? 60 plus years after independence, and we are still having this conversation about reforming our laws. Maybe we really don't want to reform it, as you said earlier. On another occasion, sorry. Maybe that's the point of that too. That's it.
I got you. That was a very sobering approach and something to think about.
Of course.
Because you yourself have sat on many tribunals with me. You've gone to court with me a couple of times and that kind of thing. And a lot of times you read all the reports. You see everything. And then when we sit before the tribunal, and you hear all the sides, something else come out. And you yourself will say, this, I have to, look at all of this now. So yeah, the caller might be right in that respect. But, there one thing that, I mean, it does not, it defies logic to me. Let me take this call. Good evening, caller.
Good evening once again.
Good evening.
The issue is, if it says the young lady was fined at the police, how come no testing wasn't done for gunpowder residue and so on?
Well, we dealt with that some time ago, and we asked those questions. These are the things that are very illogical to us.
So definitely you can see this is a type of excuse that they're trying to form a way to make up excuses for that situation. You understand? Because how come the woman was not arrested then, right? I mean, all these questions was put forward on different issues concerning that, right? And you can see clearly that they're trying to trump up a story, right, to go along with the killing.
Right, so it's a kind of self-preservation, kind of, you know, like they're trying to at least try to preserve the integrity of the police because the man done dead already, and maybe we should, and the only way we could preserve that is to charge the lady and say that she was part of she caused the whole thing by her action. And to me, that is unfortunate. But if that is what happened.
Look at the other major killing that they had. You made the man sit down in the gallery, just a short pants. You took him inside, 4 officers took him inside, fire shots, and then came out with him, 3 minute jeep, and they're on arrival at the hospital. What about that issue?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? The man was sitting down in his gallery and in a short pants alone, right? They say he tried to reach. You have 4 officers around you. You will try to reach for a firearm. You understand?
Oh God!
Stupid man.
But they not no camera there.
They didn't have no camera there. You understand? That one is worse yet. Boy.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. But
it's very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Anyway, you all can take care. We listening.
Yes, thank you. So you were saying.
I'm just saying at this point it's a little difficult to trust the information before us, and I think the energy that the TTPS is using to, in my view, target citizens who are expressing their freedom of choice, we could be finding out from that young man in Tobago where he put that child body. That's all I'm saying. The energy that
the man in Tobago.
Regardless, I'm saying we have other things that we can deal with. The murder with the Mova people and that 8-year-old child still remains unsolved. So clearly we have a lot of energies that could be put towards other matters. I think we should express that same set of energy and those strengths and all those powers.
You mean the public or
TTPS?
Yeah,
I am saying that the public is looking on. You are expending all these resources, and all of a sudden you all know laws and you know rules and who breaking what, and there are things that still have no answers. That's all I'm saying.
I remember the country had to run still, so police had to yeah, be able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
And
so
I'm
the police
not
had
saying
to deal with everything.
But for the public, the way we are looking at this thing is that we're not finding out what all these home invasions, all these things are happening, and the citizens don't feel safe, but you come out in your numbers when citizens are protesting. That's all we're saying. Nobody is saying don't do your job. We are just looking at it from the outside. Now, that could also go for the citizens as well, because people come out in their numbers to protest injustice. But when certain things happen in certain communities, nobody knows nothing. Yeah. So I'm saying that's why I started by saying it is 2 sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
It's no
hold your thought. Hold your thought. All right. You lost the call.
You lost the call. Yeah.
But you're correct. My thing is the police service is an entity with different departments and different arm of different things. So you have people to do everything. Yeah. Any situation come up, you will have people to respond to it. So you can't say that maybe using that kind of force to deal with protesting, you could use that same force to do investigation and that kind of. It's a different situation. My thing is that we have to look at the message that is being sent by everything they do.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's something that concerns me.
That's a huge problem.
Hold on. Good afternoon, caller.
Yes, so pleasant good afternoon to the buyers.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon.
Well, what is happening here? I heard that one of the officers was affiliated with let's say Taya, right? But we don't know, right? But to Mr. Speaker, I have no cause but invoke standing order 28.3, right? So I go on for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, caller. I am dealing with no speculation here. Because I don't, I'm not into that kind of thing. I know me.
We're just saying,
I just dealing with the periphery of the situation.
And the messaging again that's coming from the leadership, it's disappointing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you have to create that environment for everybody to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And if the police service is one of those entities that does that, then we have to work with that. You, as government, have to work with that to create that kind of environment. And right now, I feel we are not in the box. There are a lot of people sitting down here saying nothing but the concern.
Yep.
Right? And when that happens, it means people will just develop apathy. And whatever happened,
Yeah, it's
you don't want that to happen. You don't want people to lose that kind of confidence in the system.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's how I see
there's
it.
so much crisis going on. Go ahead.
Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Caller, good evening.
Matterson, good evening.
Good evening.
And the lady there.
Good evening.
I'm going to be short. When our population lose confidence in law enforcement, we're in a bad place. A very bad place. Anytime a population lose confidence in law enforcement, we're in a bad place. Gone.
Yeah, and caller is right. I think it was Monday we spoke about Locke's Hobbes and Rousseau and Locke and what they would have said for the organizing of a society, right? And when without laws, without laws and that kind of thing to govern a society will be brutish. Man is generally unfair, man is generally greedy, man is generally selfish. And if we don't have laws and that kind of thing to protect ourselves and we don't believe in it, right, then you would go back to that kind of barbarian kind of society. And that's what we're trying to protect. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good day, folks. But I agree with that last statement there in terms of man is inherently selfish and greedy, and if given the opportunity, the average person will do things to maximize their own, I guess, where they are in life, right? So you need the laws and more importantly, you need the confidence in the laws and the rules and the law enforcement.
Correct.
And I think right now the TTPS, it was low already, and I think it's at an all-time low right now. And I just like to put myself in the how to put it. I'm not linking it to any politics, so I just try to be objective in my assessment and how I view it. It feels like the top brass, starting from the COP, you need to not, as I mentioned it before, you have different stakeholders, and not just your officers alone. The country, the citizenry, that all of those are your stakeholders, are the TTPS, right? And you need the confidence in the citizens to I guess, get better results and better performance. And right now, people have limited to no confidence in the TTPS, right? And aside from that, you only the energy I get in, or the vibe is always pointing outwards. Up to now, we never heard him talk about having to probably do a little audit of what's going on within his service or within his service to weed out some rogue elements or to see how we could enhance. It's always about either if you see something, say something, or it's always about citizens what you need to do. But what about the TTPS? There is not no stellar institution. They are not the pinnacle of virtue, and everybody, they are not operating in an honest and moral way. So do some introspection, look at your service, start to build back the confidence, because even though you have this kind of apathy to the sentiments of the public, that will determine how you perform. And I mean, you live here as well, right? So you can't just have this kind of disdain and like, I don't really care, I do what I had to do. And it's not only from them, even, it's from the Prime Minister and all, but you had to have some kind of empathy, do some introspection, and realize that the citizens are also part of the people you need to actually serve, not just save to protect and serve. They actually have to serve as well. All right, and cut the nonsense. So have a good one.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, caller is correct. Good evening, caller.
afternoon, Mr. Matterson, Mr. Moya, and to your listeners. You know, for some people, procedure is not important, so they will accept anything coming from the police and even take the position that we will hold civilians to a very high standard, and we, the people who are charged with a certain responsibility and they take oath and get training and things, we will be held to no standard. So I want to ask the TTPS, in our history, has there ever been a time where police are engaged in an activity where they have observed two occupants in a vehicle, one have a gun in her bra, they engage in a high-speed chase, the car crash, when the officers engage, they claim that they saw a weapon being pointed to them by Kaya Siri, right? And even after that, they found a weapon in the car. And what police will tell Miss Kaya Siri and her attorney that she is not a suspect? And then 4 months later, 4 months and change later, so just so you become a suspect all of a sudden now. So all that happened from Maloney up to finding the gun in the car. How does any police officer get the
All right, caller, we seem to be having some problem with you, but anyway, we'll be going for a break shortly to pay some bills. All right, but yeah, you were saying Simoya.
Yeah, so that's just the way it looks. It's the optics, as Ronaldo always says. And while we really appreciate the work of the TTPS, and I would not blame the officers, the junior officers for that, is clearly is coming from somewhere.
Yeah, we have a leadership problem.
Yeah,
and
the leadership is the issue, not the officers.
If you're feeding from the leader, then you have to take instruction. And it happens in organization. It happens, you know that.
Yes.
And it happens in government. I mean, we play a kind of politics here, you know, follow the leader, and everybody had to sing the same song.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. Don't matter what. And to me, that's why I see I work alone, you know.
Yeah, this is
because I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that at all. But the thing is, coming here this evening, I read an article in the newspapers written by Ramon Gregorio. It's editorial in the newspapers which talks about the modern TNT mother, balancing aspiration, sacrifice, and survival. And in the next hour, I want to kind of deal with that. I want to kind of break that down, and maybe tomorrow we will go a little deeper into it because we only have an hour again. But that to me is part of the problem in society. Correct. That to me, and you would know that, Simoya, because I'm not too sure if you are single at this time, but I know you may have some challenges. Some of the challenges, like what the writer will have spoken about, right? But the thing is, these are all things that when I talk about, I'm gonna take this call. Good evening, caller. You have just less than a minute.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon.
You see, that is the problem in the problem in the country right now, and this goes back to the double leadership in the service. Susan Martin supposed to be suspended. If Kamala keep her word when she was in opposition, Kamala would suspend Susan Martin because she had a crime took place. She went and took Mr. Thomas from Barbados, and that died. All of a sudden, that was nowhere on the radar. And the question you have to ask yourself.
Well, the Prime Minister can't really suspend nobody, yeah? I mean, there are police service commission to be able to do that.
But they had the board to do that.
So we're going for a break. I don't know if you could call us back right after we break. We're going to pay some
I'll call you back
now.
right after the break.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll call you right back.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
What is life? Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Any little leak, we gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. So anyway you see a leak, the number to call save water. Water is precious. Every drop of water counts. This message is brought to you by the Water and Sewerage Authority.
Wrap up your Thursday the right way. Twister Thursdays. 2 twisters for just $54.95. Loaded, saucy, finger licking good. One bite and you know it must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
Join us.
Strictly local radio show, blazing the best positive hits out of TT. Hottest radio show.
Welcome. You are now locked in.
Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m., blazing the very best in Trinbago music and more, sending the heartbeat of the Twin Islands straight to the world.
This service is a massive communication product that aims to provide a new media platform for local TT entrepreneurs.
You're now locked into one of the hottest radio shows. Send us your voice notes or call in live and rep your district. Whether you're in East, West, North, South, or Sweet Tobago, this is your show, your sound, your culture. Hottest radio show. Strictly local, hosted by the one and only DJ Flex 868. Don't miss it. Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Only on the streets 91.9 FM. The vibes, the culture, the sound of Trinbago.
We blaze all the best in TT. Hashtag rep your district.
Go to FIFA World Cup 2026 with Coca-Cola. Here's how. Buy any Coca-Cola 591 milliliter bottle with football labels. Uncap and submit your code via WhatsApp to 328-2878. It's that easy. Participate as often as you like for your chance to win FIFA World Cup tickets or exclusive merchandise and score with Coca-Cola. Promotion approved by NLCB. Follow us on social media for updates.
Hi there, I'm Lester Suglal, inviting you to join me on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Saturday, 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the program Slow Gospel Music, and on the 4th and 5th Saturday from 8:30 p.m. for an extended version of Slow Gospel Music on Street 91.9 FM.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we dig on the ground. The big nation, cause they don't know we were the crown. It's a big D. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we all have fun, and let we join together because KFC is life.
It's a big D.
Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse.
KFC, crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make it like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram.
So
Share
yes,
the
good
live.
evening.
Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And yes, yeah, we are back. And of course, for the last caller, maybe you can certainly call us back because you were making a contribution which to me was important and valid, and we'd like to hear what it is. Right? But I was saying just before we went to the break, let me take this call. Good evening, caller. Yes, the exact caller.
I'm calling back. You know, we know it's a management issue. Why was she not charged initially with possession of an illegal firearm? That's number one. They don't wait 4 months to get that charge. Like the first charge is the charge. If we really had a firearm that was on the scene, like the first thing should have come up. Then we got to find out she have citizenship to United States. You understand? So we send somebody in the United States, and they're gone, and then you get them out 6 charges. That's not how the system works. And that's why it goes back to Martin. It's about management. That's why Martin and them supposed to be suspended.
But nobody are going to take responsibility for that.
But right, but the thing is, you can't charge the police now for murder or nothing like that. Them get away scotch-free. Somebody already charged for that murder. And that would the public not understanding. You can't turn around now and charge the police for nothing. For being reckless, as far as they're concerned, they find the killer who did the killing. And that person is migrated to the United States. That will happen. So that case done. The most crime to her is not guilty. And that would be not understanding as members of the public. The police already cleared itself. The officer was never responsible for the killing. She was responsible for the killing. But the question is, the initial charge should have been possession of an illegal firearm. Why they waited 4 months after they did that charge? Nobody explained that one. Nobody in Trinidad has ever get charged 4 months after for being in possession of a firearm. You just get arrested one time. That's what I'm asking. That's the only question I'm asking. Why it takes so long? If we can answer that question, then all the problems could be solved.
Yeah.
But Martin as a leader, as a DCP, under the PNM, Kamala was talking about that in opposition. All of a sudden now, back in power, she's no longer talking about that. That person going clear. And Thomas going to cost the country millions of dollars with a settlement with the state. These are the things we had to answer. They was hoping within the 4 months, it died down. But it didn't die down, escalate more because they charged the girl. But people was hoping that the police get charged.
That justify why the police are getting charged. Somebody had to get charged.
No, but they charge somebody already. They charge her.
I know. This is what I'm saying. And this is what I'm saying. Somebody had to. We had to preserve the police. We had to charge somebody.
Right, exactly. So they gone clear. It ain't about excessive. It ain't about excessive firing. That's out the door. That's out the door. So this case
the causation should be the bullet that killed the lady, the gentleman.
Well, that's what she charged. That's what she charged for. That's what she charged for. It's her bullet. As far as they said, it's her bullet.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying is that can't be the causation. I mean, what they're saying is that she would have, by her action, they would prefer manslaughter on her because by her action she caused the death of the man. But to me, that's not the causation. But
that is their defense.
If that is your defense, well,
that's their defense. That's their defense, not mine. That is their defense. That with them, because I can guarantee you, no officer can be charged for Samaru. No officer can be charged for Samaru. Because they ain't gonna have the officers on murder charge and she on manslaughter. That don't make sense. That don't make no kind of sense. That makes no kind of sense at all. That's all I'm saying. Have a good day.
Thank you. Right. So we've pronounced on that particular game. And we want to go in another area and spend some time on this. And probably tomorrow we will give it a little more. We'll give it a little more study. But there was an article written by one Roman Gregorio in the Trinidad Guardian. I think it's today's Trinidad Guardian, the opinion section, where the article entitled "The Modern TNT Mother: Balancing Aspiration, Sacrifice, and Survival." And, you know, reading that article, it kind of gives us a little signpost as to where we are as a society. Not just Trinidad and Tobago, but in particular Trinidad and Tobago, when we take into consideration the issue of crime and criminality. You know, long ago, when I was growing up, I remember my mother home, and when I come home in the evening, I could count on, you know, a hot meal, your parent home, your mother home, your father also always out there working, and he was that's the kind of home you were brought up in probably 20, 30 years ago, and he was the person who would usually provide for the family in terms of financially and that kind of thing. He was the main security, the guarantor for the home. this is not necessarily what this article is showing. I mean, they interviewed 1,000 women and mothers and caregivers, and it is startling. It is not figures, it's not issues that we don't know about and we don't currently talk about on this program, but it says something that, you know, mothers in particular, they have to juggle so many different things to survive. So they had to juggle between survival, aspiration. Many of you, I'm talking about you too, many of you may have real aspiration, just like most men will have, to be lawyers and doctors and consultants and judges and what to think about again.
Even business owners.
Right, business owners, and those are our aspirations. But we are now charged also with caregiving, bringing up children, bringing up our children. The same thing that we were charged with, you all were charged with before, you still have that. But you now have aspiration, and also you have survival to think about too, because most of it is single mothers who now have to survive with a child.
Yeah.
And so it's a constant battle between that, and every now and again, some of them children will fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
Or some of those situations, mothers give up, people give up too. I mean, sometimes you can't survive. You ain't get any job to meet your particular needs. You ain't get any kind of income to solve your problem or to take you out of the rat race. And therefore, sometimes you give up. Because fathers are not there. As a society, how are we dealing with that? You as a mother and a professional, what do you have to say about that article?
Well, it's definitely challenging. I'm struggling to find the words because no mother really goes into a situation like this to be a single mom. And you can be a single mom not because, and when people hear single mom, first thing they're thinking is, you have a child father or a set of children father or children fathers or something like that. And a lot of that is not the case. Divorce is a real thing. Death of a spouse is a real thing as well. So the first thing I would want people to do...
And some deadbeat fathers are a real thing.
And then there's that usual situation. I think, this is my view, if many mothers could have done it on their own without asking for any form of assistance, they wouldn't care whether the fathers are wrong or not. There are some people who would feel as though you're a waste of time anyway. So if I have everything together, I wouldn't care what is happening with you. Whether you give, whether I just wouldn't communicate with you. You want to see a child, all that is fine. But it doesn't matter whether you're here or there because I can do it by myself. And I think when a woman reaches to that stage, it's an indictment on the adult male. I'm not going to say a man, the adult male that puts the woman in that situation with whom he has a child. But the reality is that it's happening because there's no other choice. Women have to work. Women just have to work.
But the natural consequence of that is women with children have to work, and you have to follow the dictates of your employer.
That's correct.
But you also have to.
I'm
looking at
a parent.
77.4% of the persons who were in the subjects in the study would have said that described a constant tug of war between providing financially and being there physically in the homes for the children.
It's difficult because if you are a single parent, I wouldn't, anyway, the article is about mothers. If you're a single mother and you don't have the support, that's the issue too. A lot of people, some people have support, their parents, their siblings to give that assistance, and some people don't, which is why some children fall through the cracks. But if the mother does not work, then the bills aren't paid. And it's not just about keeping a roof over your head. You try to provide as a mother or as a parent for your child, not give them everything that they want, but at least as much of their needs as possible so that they too don't feel left out. They are young, they are children. They will interact with other people, other children their age, and you don't want them to feel bad that they are not able to afford. I will rewind to when I was a child. My mom was a single parent because my father died when I was 5. And it was, what, 4 of us? 5 of us, as a matter of fact. And she just had to do everything. My mom is not educated, so she had to do everything. And that meant going and work, and then, the older sisters, they would help out until they start working and so on. So this is people's reality, that it just has to happen. Sometimes as a single mom, you don't get the opportunity to lean on anybody. You just do it because this is what you have to do. And there's a guilt. Just one more point. There's a guilt that you can't always be there. You can't provide the hot meal that you would like to have. But in order for your children to survive and not beg, you just do what you have to do. So
because we have so many, could it be that because we have that propensity, that, that large group of people in society today who we could call single mothers or single families, could be one of the gaping holes in the answer to crime? Because not only you have that situation of a dysfunctional family, a breakup in the family or whatever, but you also now have the situation of being unemployed.
Yes.
You have the situation of being sometimes employed, but you're not making enough money to pay for daycare and that kind of thing, so your children are left unattended for a significant long period of time, and you have now chaos. Let's take this call. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. It's a long time I called. Yeah. I was a single parent. I'll tell you something. You must make up your mind. Tell your children. I didn't know to travel. I don't know to cook meat, that I could have gone to do maid work somewhere because I am a vegan, strict vegetarian, no fish, no eggs and things, no milk. So I could not even get work because at that time it hadn't vegetarian like now. And I didn't know to travel. I from beach. So I would have worked. And I had girl parents, single parent. The only time is a single parent is when your husband dead. Not when you have 2-3 different children and people leave you with it. Get the others to mind them. It was so hard for me to. But what I did was I would sleep 11 in the night, get up 3 in the morning, up to now. I would plant anything. If you don't have place, you could plant in container. And we would eat and we would be contented. I plant a mango tree 5 years after. We would make dal cheap, rice and mango patari, and we'll eat, make roti and eat that for dinner too. I plant a coconut tree. In 3 years I get dry coconut, we eat coconut chutney. You understand? And make them know this is what we have. Do not follow. You will go to school and see friends. You cannot have what friends have. And my 2 girl children, one doing 2 work, and my 2 grandchildren, they are same thing. And the other one, she have a little vegetarian. She would sleep 4 and 5 hours, sometimes if there was something. When water comes, she have to do, she thinks to help her husband. And the other one is the same thing. They do not hang their hat where they cannot eat. I have 6 grandchildren. All of them are contented with where they sit down. We have the best bed. We have furniture if people come. But we have the place clean. Clean outside and inside. We have the bench, bamboo and things to wash with. And people will come, us. So people have to be contented with what children know. And my 6 grandchildren understand what is hard time. We eat. We never starve, but we couldn't eat. We have veggie ham too. We could have made chunky edge too, but when we could afford it, we would do it. And when we cannot, we eat anything. We eat curry boli with aloo and roti on a Christmas day. And when we could afford, we cook veggie ham, cook anything. So you have to show them that we cannot do what the family could do. We cannot do what other people could do. Take your education. And when you take your education, you will be able to go good. And let me tell you something. I had no problem because I never send them to play game, no way to pick up, no habit to come home. None of my 6 grandchildren, when they go to school and come, they would eat and get on the book. 4 of them do science subjects. And they kept in science subjects. Pumpkin and roti. We had to look for something cheap. My grandkids. We had to look for something cheap that we can make dal rice and bhaji with a little mango chutney. When all you go to school and take all your education, or you have big loan to pay, so the circle would be going the same way, but you would have your education. And that is how people have to teach their children. I was a single parent too. Get them on the book, get them home, let them watch the plants, let them watch the wells. When they're going up the road, they're going down the road. Give them this game, give them that game. No, we do that, man. They wouldn't go in gang. There's where they pick up the gang. I had no problem with 2 girls. I had no problem with 6 grandchildren. And I had to thank God every day for that. And I had nice Creole neighbors. My Creole neighbors were loving, nice. But the old generation gone. The young ones, they like them, you know. And nobody hold guns. 4 children is Talal Jihad for life. Nobody hold gun in beach. No thief cars in beach. No police shoot anybody for nothing in beach. Nobody running from police. And it's only manners. It's only manners. Why not? Port of Spain is the capital of Trinidad. But what does have people, so I'll tell you, do not give somebody hamper. Do not give them food gun. Do not give them nothing. Give who deserve it. Give who deserve it, because they will get accustomed to free things. And that is what would happen in it. Thank you very much for your program, Grace.
world with them.
So we were not
So
being heard all the time, yeah. We were not being heard all the time.
So we are saying that, you're asking for solutions in terms of how do we treat with the plight of single mothers. The article is around single mothers. And how do we deal with that? I will start here. The community or the village. It really helps to have a community that supports. Because if the mother don't have somebody that she could safely leave the child with, to, so she could continue to work or things like that, it makes it difficult. School starts between 8 and 8:30, and it finishes around 3.
Right, and the article talks about balancing aspiration, sacrifice, and we're going to talk about survival. I mean, in her days, survival probably was probably easier, more comforting, more community,
easier because you had community.
But now is not that.
It's not.
So a person like you who trying to survive, who you have to think about survival. Well, you know your survival coming because you're working, you're a professional, but you all now have to think about, sacrifice for your children or your child and that kind of thing.
But every time I come here, it's a sacrifice. Because this show finishes at 7. My daughter would have already been home. So if it was not for my community, then I would not be here to do this. So, and I have to do this because then it contributes to my personal development, my career development. But you can't, if you're working as a single parent, the 8 to 4 is going to be very difficult for you in terms of expansion. Because the higher you go in terms of your salary, you will work late hours sometimes. You will have those challenges, those unavoidable meetings that you will have to take. So then what happens? Your child is still being left unattended if you don't have the support. So managing your aspirations, especially if you now start studying, it is very hard to work and study. If you have a child, it's even worse because they want your attention. And depending on the way that you study and the way that you learn, it's going to be very difficult for you to keep up when you have chaos around you. Little children are very distracting.
So every now and again, a few of those children, they fall through the cracks.
Yeah, it's a reality.
So then, that is a problem. And that's what the article talk about, because everything is getting more expensive.
Yes.
If you are working, and I just want to use throughout figures, if you have 2 children or even 3 children, some people have 3, but if you have 2 little children, you're single, and you're working for $4,000 or $5,000, but your traveling alone is half that.
Yep. If you have a car also,
right?
It doesn't make it
thing.
easier with a car. You have
easier.
to pay for gas.
Yeah, you might have a little more convenience. But then you have to talk about food. You have to talk about daycare.
That's right.
You have to talk about you don't go on past that $5,000 a long time.
Exactly.
How you surviving? So it might be better to stay home, just stay home and do that. But if you do that, we're getting income to take. Exactly. And that's the challenge.
Some mothers have to resort to utilizing free services. For example, putting your children on the box lunch list.
And that's what the article talks about. The article talks about balancing that.
Using the free services of the health center and so on, because you can't afford to go for a checkup every now and then at a pediatrician or a dentist.
I seen KFC calling relentlessly. Let me take him. Yeah, KFC.
KFC calling. Good afternoon, Simoya.
Good afternoon, KFC. How you going?
Yes, well, Mr. Beautiful this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Oh, marketing now, just call them back and now here, Granny not talking it. Don't give them food, kid. Don't give them this. And don't give them that. Why you give back your pension? Why you try to come and society and be poor and you're the privilege and they needy for? And you defending and government pension. After you try to talk, ice KFC.
But KFC.
Well, you talk about single parents, right? Oh.
You heard the argument. What we talking about here? What do you think about single parents and the sacrifice single mothers sometimes have to balance between aspiration and survival?
My mother had 8 children and she's a single parent.
Was she working?
My mother fight and battle and make sure she see what she training them. What should I do? My mother working 2 jobs and she see what she training them. She resigned, she was a government worker, she resigned, she can rock back And she took pension, NIS pension and this pension, because she worked hard for that. So, it's life out there, there are single parents and single fathers out there. But some of them abuse the social development system about it, say, but people need help. It's that too, and look right now. I am a girlfriend here, but I go bring my wife, 13 years and she rocket. I used to be collecting social development because either man get damaged, I thanking God for that. I spent 24 months in the hospital. Then I come again. Last week, literally see I was working and stop my disability while I still be getting 3 years now. Going to 4 years now, I fighting to get it back. You know, I have to forget that. I have to move on. Right now, I working right now. I watch my in a building right now. The man of business, you're that strong P&M contractor. You pay me for about 7-8 fortnight now. But when I call him, he's a man as this thing. Friday, Sunday, go and he come and top him up real nice. So I don't know what's grinding and we'll be talking about them, so we'll be fighting down African, black people, poor people too. Every time I make a contribution, she'll come and attack.
Yeah, okay, caller.
What's your name?
Okay, KFC. Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you, KFC.
Yeah.
You know, it could be emotional because I'll tell you, there are people who will feel a kind of way about this. You know, and I don't want to say realize, but recently there was a release of some salaries for some social media people. And Stephen, when you and I so look at those figures, it ain't nothing to bawl about because I don't know best salary. But the fact that people are so upset about it, it says to me that, in terms of what people take home as an income, the average man on the street, if they feel as though they are not making as much as those social media people, then there's a real problem in terms of what people are actually getting as their take-home salary, which is why it's difficult to survive. If you are making less than, I don't want to call any names, but the least paying person on that list, it will be very difficult for you to live a comfortable life unless you have other means of income, legal or otherwise. So
I want to get involved in
social
media.
Why I raise that point is because of the salaries is what I'm speaking about. If people feel that is so much money, then what exactly are they working for? And then it is going to also say the levels that people are at and why it is so difficult when they go to the grocery every month with their other bills to pay.
It is very
hard.
Very difficult for single mothers in particular who trying to survive, who working.
And how much of them actually own their own homes? Most single people are paying rent.
Yeah.
And a basic 1-bedroom apartment is $2,500. That's 1 bedroom. So if you have 2 or 3 kids, then you're looking for about 2-3 bedrooms at most. And the cost for a 2-bedroom is probably close to $4,000. If you are working for $6,000 or your take home is $6,000 and your rent is $4,000 and you have 2 kids to send to school, these are realities that people face. So this is why I say, and this is no attack on the men at all, but for those who are giving problems to pay their child support, it is difficult when you start working out the numbers to know that the person that you are calling crazy, the person that you're calling all these names that is still entrusted with the care of your child, can't even get the commitment of you paying that money to help offset some of those costs, because those children also belong to you. And this is not a man and woman issue. This is if we were to just look at cost. I'm seeing a lot of
but the argument was a very linear argument. It didn't go into all of that.
No, it's not going into that.
Look at the survival part of how do these people survive? What kind of balancing they had to do?
How do you balance getting $6,000 take home and your rent is $4,000? That's what I'm saying, and that's why I'm referencing that point.
So your rent is $4,000. You're traveling or your gas.
You ain't even do all that yet. So this is now people discuss single mothers and say, oh, you're going with man for this. I have learned in life not to judge anybody's situation unless you've been in it.
Correct.
I've heard many times, one of my colleagues was saying, he know of his mom actually doing what she had to do just to put food on the table. And to this day, as a grown man, it brings tears to his eyes that his mother had to lie down on her back. So when you come out of a situation like that, and as a male, as an adult male, you make another woman a single mother after seeing what your mother went through, do you think that is right? That's all I'm saying.
Let me take this call. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon. The system is developed to make sure the average person doesn't make it, Because the same hours your husband or your wife going to work, the same hours the school operating. You have to drop your child to school. So when your wife or husband working, the children going home by themselves, no discipline and nobody to watch. So the system working against the average poor person in the country. That is a systematic system to make sure you don't survive how you're supposed to survive. The 1%, they have babysitter.
So everything is revolving then. I mean, crime is almost a revolving thing. It must happen.
Exactly. It must happen. Because you have nobody to look over to see what's going on. Nobody to help you with your homework. Nobody to do this, nobody to do that. So
the bad man socializing a child.
Place. Exactly. So that's why they call them community leaders, because instead of they're going to that mother or father, they're going to tell somebody who running the block, who running the area. And that
what can we do as a society to fix that?
These welfare system they have. It's to keep you there. It's to keep you worried. That's what they're doing. They're not helping us. They're making it worse. But when 90% of the people in Trinidad and Tobago is single parent, 90% or more is single parent. The system working against you. Your mother go to work for 7 o'clock. You gotta go to school for 8:30. When your mother at work, you out of school. So who watching after you? Who helping you? You go to social services. I passed with a friend last month. It take a year before they go to your files. A year. So think about that. So within that year, what are you doing with that year? What are you gonna do? Somebody had to help you. So you're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure you get your children what they need to get. And that's part of the problem taking place. That will be the address. These services they say supposed to help you, it ain't really helping you. They're trying to tell you, don't come to us. So they're pressuring you to make sure we keep it for 2 years for nothing. As the man just said just now, they take him off after 4 years. They take him off 4 years now. Why? As far as they're concerned, disability, you don't need that. And that's a problem. That's a big, big problem. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. And the caller, but he hit the nail on the head to some extent. But you were saying something. You were saying that sometimes mothers have to make the ultimate sacrifice. And that ultimate sacrifice might be something that society might look down at.
Correct.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening once again. I just want to add something along that line. Look at the system. Let's say I'm a criminal. I commit some kind of crime, right? I'm arrested. My family borrow money to stand my bail, right? So I outside. I'm not working anywhere. So where am I getting money now to give my family to pay back for the money that they borrowed? And then where am I getting money now to hire a lawyer to fight my case? So the system itself breeding back the same criminal, because when you do that, you send me out now. My family borrow money to get my bail. They have to pay back that money, right? So I have to find a way to get that money back to them, right? And also I have to find a way to get money to pay the lawyer as well. So it's going in a circle right there. You understand? And that's the whole just the matter there. And I don't know if they do see that. If it is you hold somebody and they don't have money to the family, you set a bail, you work it anywhere, this, that, don't give me any bail. Because
but if you give a bail, right? I still end up in the same situation. I can't work, I can't provide. So what happens to my family?
That should extend, but then you're enhancing the crime. If you have a way that you could have employed the people like that, let them work and or plant food or something, like how Golden Grove used to be planted, but who was getting all the food to carry home? Mostly the turkeys and them. You understand? I see men loading up the trunk with things by Golden Grove already. Right? Turkeys, putting it in the element, putting it in the car and they're going home with it. But do that in a bigger scale. And then the issue like...
So we had to reform even the prison system. Exactly. We had to reform that and all. We had to change that to the extent that it reduces the burden of the state to take care of prisoners. And prisoners are now made to pay for their stay there through work and pay for reparation to the families that are distressed or to their family and that kind of thing. And all those are things that we could deal with. But that's just one part of this whole situation with the single parent and balancing between aspiration and sacrifice and survival.
And then with the single parent now, I mean, the figure that is set on which most spenders can't pay is still irrelevant because $300 can't really mind a child. You know what I mean?
Correct.
A month. I mean...
They ain't doing nothing for you. They ain't putting gas in your car.
Correct. And as the caller was saying earlier on, most of us work for plenty less than what could mine us.
Correct.
That's how the country is. You understand? So, I mean, it's a hell of a situation.
And basic bread is $20-something, isn't it?
For a country that trillions passed through from ever since, whereby the pitch lake alone could have pay all the country's bill, the pitch lake and the derivative from the pitch lake. And we had pitch, we had cocoa, we had coffee, trillions passed through the country. And the people end up poor. The majority of the people didn't benefit from anything. We're supposed to have the best healthcare, the best education, the best, you understand? The best of everything. Little Trinidad. And look the position we're in today. We can't pay the bills, all this type of thing, situation. Anyway, my brothers, let's keep the good thing going and let's keep listening to the caller.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah. Let's take this call. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Ataria, how are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon.
Nice.
I'm fine. But I'd like to say good evening to the lady first. Miss Samoya.
Good evening, Sue.
Good evening, ma'am.
Professor
I'd like to hear your voice to bring a different thought to the conversation. I just tuned in and heard this gentleman a while ago. Just for this last caller. And there's a term Trinbagonians keep saying. We had cocoa and coffee and we had this and we had that. Yeah, but the condition the people was planting cocoa and coffee. Check their condition. People was planting cocoa. Yeah. You want a simple example? Take a drive into Santa Cruz and you would probably see on the Stolmire estate, one or two East Indian people still living on the estate. And their lifestyle hasn't really improved to see. They ain't become millionaires. Still there. The girl house, the generation passed and the house has improved. That used to only benefit the slave master. That's so? And used to benefit the man who owned the estate after the slavery. And what we fail to realize, when it was building the Panama Canal, a lot of people was working on those plantations left to go with the first reincarnation of the Panama Canal. That caused that created a whole migration of average Trinidadian and Vincent. We just talk about the Windrush generation. We just forget that generation, ma'am. We just forget that generation left here and went to build the first Panama Canal and give up the estate and give up this.
But the conversation really started around...
Excuse me?
The conversation really started around women rationalizing between survival,
yes, I heard that
and sacrifice.
I heard Mr. Moyer saying she was one of our co-workers. So the gentleman tell you, if I get locked up, so what if the lady who is the single parent get locked up? So doing the same thing Mr. Moya was saying. Who is going to attend to her family?
Some of them end up in homes. Some of them end up in private homes. Some of them end up in government homes.
And if they end up in a government home, most likely they could end up doing the same thing mommy was doing to try to feed him. So we didn't solve the problem. So the problem, sir, is to teach. First thing I keep saying, Mr. Moya raised this question 2 weeks ago, that men have to teach men how to conduct that thing between the foot and learn where to use it, when to use it, and understand if you meet a lady with a child and you ain't ready for to give she one and leave she.
Move it along.
We as men, we want to solve this problem in society. We keep blaming everybody else but our own self. When men pick up the role as men, society will move along a lot better. When men start to play the role as, even though you and the woman finish, pick up the child on a weekend, carry him out, teach him, buy a bicycle, buy 2 kites. You understand what I'm saying? We give up our roles for them to sit down on our PlayStation and spend 6 hours. Because mommy going to work, daddy in home, he working. Daddy might be holding down 2 jobs. So daddy buy a toy to keep you occupied from going on the road. But that same toy could put him in problems. Men have to pick up the role in our society and create a space for themselves and an agenda where they like to see men in Trinidad. You know, there isn't something, there are a man have a father association, but there isn't something saying, this is how men, a group of men saying this is what we're going to do. And this is how we'd like to see men in Trinidad and Tobago function. We don't have that. We don't have a father society where you could call and get help funding from the state, where you could run to and get some kind of psychologist. You understand what I'm saying, ma'am?
I sure feels listening to you.
Yeah. I mean, I really believe that the men need that kind of support.
That is what we need. Because if you grow up without a father, and mommy was your role model, what do you think happened to you? You have a hard fight if you didn't adapt a role model from the TV or from sport and emulate the I want to be like that. You might become he, but your mental capacity, you still can't hold on a family and raise 2 children.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you have that aspiration, it will be magic to get it if you don't have the finance or you don't have all the other support.
No, some people are changing it, you know. Some people do it. But while we doing it, I end up with 3 chairs. And all the money I end up with, if you look sharp, had to go right back down the road because I didn't pay the tax then. So now when I do get the money, I go back, and after 20 years I go back, they bring me up in court. I win this one, 100,000 this one. You understand my point? We have to accept our responsibilities. And don't just make them and believe I could mind them and go on. We have to be more. That's why the Prime Minister said, choose your partner wisely. They said the Prime Minister, if take care of a woman like how you take care of a golf course. Everybody trip off when he say that, eh? Enjoy the evening.
Thank you.
I mean, at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is reality.
Yeah.
This is real. This is real. A great percentage of women are in that situation today as we speak. Right? And that is survive, but they may have aspiration. And I know a lot of them going to school all now, some of them in school.
Yep.
Right?
You have aspirations because you were a person before you became a mom.
Right? So, but the whole thing with crime and everything have, if you look at how the society is organized, everything have a genesis, you know. It have a catalyst.
Yeah.
Right? We know where things going and why it will go because some will fall through the cracks. Right? So you have, I don't want to say good mothers and bad mothers, probably all mothers good. But you have mothers who just give up. Who this what we talking about here. Right? You're helping them because here what? You're working for $4,000 a month or $5,000 a month in KFC or wherever. Right? The very hours you're working, you can't be home to take care of your child.
Can't.
Right?
You cannot.
And if you had to pay somebody to take care of your child, that's your whole KFC salary. Right? So you have a few like yourself, But even that is a sacrifice. Because there's a certain kind of socialization a child needs.
That's correct.
And it's not like when I was growing up, when I come home in the evening, I sure to get my bhaji and rice and pigtail or whatever, fish or whatever, and it's hot. Because your mother was there, she cooks, you know what time you're coming home, you get food and that kind of thing. I mean, but you had a man, a father or a stepfather or whoever working with you and, you know, that kind of thing. That is not the case with most people today.
That's correct.
It's survival. And that's a challenge. That's a serious, significant, which is one of the things that is leading us down the road of, you know, that unaccountability with children and that kind of thing.
Correct.
And that's one of the major. I can tell you stories, but the thing is, it really, really is hard for some women. So sometimes, I mean, I don't want to say you can't blame them, because somebody will say, if you can say you can't blame them, you'll say, well, why I went and make children and why I went and, but I mean, the man dead.
That's not all.
That's like a kind of nonsensical, kind of irrational reasoning, right? Because you'll do things and children will come at some point in time.
Yeah, but
they're human beings.
we're forgetting that single parenthood doesn't come from just
and
being
sometimes
careless.
it doesn't. Exactly. Sometimes it doesn't start off with being single. It starts off
single
good.
parent could be a widow or
A widow.
divorcee, so what are we
Correct.
talking about? You know, so it's not an issue of that for everybody. It's just being sensitive to the fact that you could be happily married. That is why you have to be careful. You have to be careful because life, this go and come. You have highs and lows. You could be happily married and pointing out everybody's faults. Haha, look at me, I have my husband, and then your husband die. And you find yourself in the same situation as the person who you were talking about. So, it could happen to anybody.
And that's the reality. So when we're looking at organizing a society to reduce crime, and we're looking to organize it to talk about how we do reduce crime, we can't just look at SOEs. We can't just look at those things, but we have to look at everything. We have to consider all these kind of issues also, right? And consider even things like the economics, inflation, right? How do we, you know, I always say, the average income of a Trinidad citizen and the average income of an American citizen is almost the same. You know? You ever check that? Yeah, it's almost the same. The lower end of Americans will work for about 3,000 US, 3,300, 3,500 US a month. Lower end, right? And the upper end will be upwards of 6,000-7,000 US, right? But that lower end is in the 60-something percentile. And the same thing like Trinidad and Tobago. The people who earning $4,000 and $5,000 in Trinidad and Tobago is in the 60-something percentile, right? It means that it is very difficult, and the situation is a little different if, say, you live in the US, because you wouldn't pay $21 of your $4,000 for bread, which will just feed probably one family for less than a day. Right? I'm seeing a caller trying to get us here. The thing is, our situation is more dire. Even if they say inflation is you're paying, things have changed. When I was in the US, the last time, things about 8 or 9 months ago, things was a lot more expensive than it was last year and the year before and that kind of thing. But in Trinidad, what you could do for $4,000, you could do about 6 times that in the US.
Wow.
I'm just saying. So the thing is, we can't compare it like that, because it is very, very, very difficult for single parent mothers in Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, caller.
Very, very difficult for single mothers in the US as well. And
we know that?
Yes, you see, our bread is $21 here, right? And our US is 7 to 1. And our bread is $2.75, $2.75. It ain't far from $21.
Yeah, but you can't look at it like that because they spend.
Yeah, well, I join a reference there. It still works out. When you convert it, it works out to the same thing based on inflation.
Sometimes even more. Sometimes
Well,
even
right.
more.
So let me draw an example for you. The average federal worker, or what we would, a federal worker I would consider a public servant, right, works for $7.25 an hour. And they've been making noise for more than 15 years, close to 20 years for increase in salary. $7 and 50 cents an hour. That's what the average federal worker works for. And Trump sent home a ton load of them just recently. Gasoline has gone to $4 a liter. Eggs has gone up. So, and let me point something out to you. Just before the election, I was making noise about who collects welfare in America the most. You see that, Miss Samoya?
Yeah.
There was one thing between the African, Latinos, and white people who collects biggest share of welfare. And they was blaming the Africans. You know when the story bust out, who you think collects the biggest welfare in America? What race?
Oh, I don't know. Tell me.
The white population collects the biggest part of welfare in America.
Well, they are the largest. They are the largest population.
But if you look at it, it doesn't seem so from the outside. Look at when you look at only one major Latinos and Americans and Black Americans seem to be the most suffering ones. And it's not so. It's not actually so at all. We still do a lot better than plenty of them because we get up and work. Some of them don't work. They sit down and wait for the money, just like here. So, Mr. Anderson, how to put it? On a global scale, we on the same, because in America, in order for you to get especially a black household long ago to get welfare as a home that under poverty, you know what happened? The father had to leave the house for the mother to claim that she's a single parent, that she could get welfare. That creates what we have here today, you know, Mr. Madison. Enjoy your evening, Mr. Moya.
Thank you. The article, and let's take this caller. Good evening, fellow umpire.
I know you're closing, but just to tell that caller, it is not the same. Because in those countries, the basics work. What people want in Trinidad is the basics. When you listen to people who do our water and they're voting, how you go to work without water? How you live without water for 2 and 3 weeks? So that is a society, no matter what we say about it, the basics. You know about transport. You know, you could put your dollar, you could time the pizza and know when to pick it up. The basics is what we want in Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
The fancy things will come if they don't come, if you have money or not, but the basics: food, water, transport, and security.
And shelter.
As much as we bad talk America and shelter, those things are not only affordable, they are available. They are available. And if you ever travel to that place, you know that. You don't have to have money to be on the subway. You don't have money. You don't have to have a set of money. And you could go to work, and a lot of people use the subway. So we have to admit that here is not a paradise. We love the country. We love it. It's not a paradise, and
therefore the article written by Ramon Gregorio is very, 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 very relevant. But it is also very telling as to where we are as a society, because it is very, very difficult for single mothers to navigate through living and survival.
20 seconds.
Yeah? Looking at the situation of balancing aspiration, sacrifice, and survival. So tomorrow we will continue on this, looking at this issue. And certainly today we had a very good show, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, engaging us in the same way. This is the Third Empire. Good evening.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the